Hi, welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about Fowler's stages of faith development. We will be looking at the historical context along with each developmental stage of faith. Let's take a look at the historical context of James W. Fowler's theory of faith development. James Fowler was a theologian and developmental psychologist whose work emerged prominently in the 20th century. His groundbreaking theory was developed while he was at Harvard Divinity School, a period marked by significant social upheaval. Fowler was heavily influenced by two key figures, Wilfred Cantwell Smith and Lawrence Kohlberg. Wilfred Cantwell Smith shaped his understanding of faith as a dynamic, evolving process. Lawrence Kohlberg's research on moral development provided a framework for Fowler's own study on faith. These influences helped Fowler create his comprehensive model of faith development, which we'll explore in the upcoming slides. The pre-stage of faith development highlights the importance of early experiences and interactions in shaping an infant's sense of trust and relationship with others, establishing the fundamental building blocks of faith. When an infant cries and receives comfort or nourishment from a caregiver or parent, the foundations for future faith are established. Caregivers and parents play a crucial role in cultivating the sense of mutuality, trust, and meaningful interaction within the infant. In stage 1 of faith development, known as Intuitive Project, young children ages 3 to 7 begin to form their early perceptions of faith based on their experiences and observations, which are primarily influenced by their parents. For an example, a 4-year-old child who sees their parents pray before meals and at bedtime on a regular basis may not comprehend the theological significance of prayer, but they begin to imitate their parent by folding their hands and bowing their heads when they pray. Through this imitation, the child demonstrates an intuitive understanding of prayer as a meaningful and important activity within their family. Children at this stage see God in abstract, non-human forms and believe that religious symbols possess inherent power. They also respond emotionally to faith expressions but do not yet grasp the underlying concepts. In stage 2, called mythic literal, children around the age of 7 begin to understand the world through a more concrete perspective, as described by Jean Piaget's concrete operational stage. At this stage, children's understanding of faith is heavily influenced by the stories and myths of their families and religious communities. For instance, a 10-year-old child attends Sunday school regularly and learns about the concept of sin and redemption. When prompted to ask Jesus into their hearts, this child may become disturbed as they interpret that phrase literally as a physical process where one's chest is cut open so that Jesus can come in. At this stage, children struggle to comprehend the symbolic language and analogies presented by pastors, leading to a literal interpretation of religious concepts and quite possibly fear. In stage 3, known as synthetic conventional, individuals start to manage the complexity of life by aligning themselves with the beliefs and practices of their community. For example, a 13-year-old teenager attends a youth group where the leader emphasizes the importance of personal Bible study. Although this individual is still figuring out their own beliefs, they start reading the Bible daily because their peers and youth leaders do so. This individual is perceiving that being a part of this faith community requires adhering to these practices, which is shaping their understanding of what it means to be a faithful member of that congregation. During this stage, individuals begin to distinguish between their group's beliefs and those of others. They begin to internalize perspectives of their communities or influential leaders, forming a coherent belief system. This stage is typical of adolescence, but it can persist into adulthood for those whose values remain heavily influenced by their peers. In stage 4, individuals begin to critically examine and take responsibility for their beliefs. This stage involves a shift from relying on external authorities to forming a personalized faith system. For instance, 22-year-old was raised in a devoutly religious family, begins to question the necessity of attending church services every week. After much reflection and discussion with peers, she decides that her spirituality is more deeply connected to her personal meditation and study rather than traditional worship services. She retains her core beliefs but reinterprets her religious practices to align with her personal understanding and rationalized worldview. In this stage, people reassess familiar assumptions, reconsidering or even rejecting prior beliefs and practices. They begin to develop new beliefs that form a cohesive and coherent system. Symbols become meaningful only to the extent that they support this personal belief system. Stage 5 is typically reached after the age of 30. It involves recognizing and respecting the integrity of perspectives different from one's own. Adults in this stage develop an identity that goes beyond race, class, or ideological lines, merging traditional beliefs with personal doubts and the beliefs of others to create a comprehensive and inclusive worldview. Fowler notes that reaching this stage often requires suffering and loss, responsibility and failure, and the grief associated with making significant life commitments. This deep life experience fosters a new appreciation for religious stories, rituals, and symbols, which may have been dismissed as overly simplistic in earlier stages. Lastly, stage 6 is universalizing, which is rare and exemplified by mature adults like Gandhi, Mother Teresa, and Martin Luther King Jr. Individuals in this stage root their lives in universal justice and love, transcending personal biases and embracing the oneness of humanity. For example, an individual who reflects on a variety of religious texts during their quiet time sees the value in every human being. They organize their interfaith dialogue, bringing people from different religious backgrounds to foster mutual understanding. Now let's recap. Fowler's 6 stages of faith development provides a comprehensive framework for understanding the evolution of faith throughout the lifespan. By recognizing these stages, we can better support individuals in their spiritual journeys, fostering deeper growth and maturity in faith. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day.